Lake Turkana. A river flowing on the mirror of a lake in northern Kenya has created its own highway of alluvium. On the white and smooth surface of Lake Turkana, a river winds its way through banks of alluvium so regular that they seem to have been created by human hands. More than 5 kilometers from the shore of the lake, the river ends in a spectacular and wide delta, shaped like the claw of a huge bird. This is the end of a 640-kilometer road for the Omo River, which originates in Ethiopia. Its waters flow downwards through picturesque gorges and waterfalls, then rush through groves and thickets and finally flow, loaded with reddish-brown sediments, into the luxurious green mirror of Lake Turkana, in northern Kenya. Although weighed down by alluvium and debris collected along the way, the river's waters are lighter than those of the lake, dense as a result of the volcanic deposits dissolved in them. This is how the water of the river flows on the surface of the lake, gradually slowing its progress as it deposits its sediments. Thus it creates its own banks. With the last forces, the river overflows, giving birth to a delta and, finally, becomes one with the lake. 312 kilometers long, Lake Turkana is fed by several rivers, but it itself has no outlet. A long time ago, when the flow of the rivers was higher, the lake was probably 180 meters deeper than it is today. At one time, the Nile flowed through a gorge at the northwestern end, but drastic climate changes reduced the water level, and today the gorge is completely dry. Over the centuries, the large amounts of ash and lava thrown by the surrounding volcanoes flowed into the water, forming thick deposits of mineral salts, including sodium carbonate or washing soda. Located in northwestern Kenya, on the border with Ethiopia, Lake Turkana is so isolated that only the most energetic travelers and passionate anthropologists venture to it, sharing the experiences of the few tribes that live near it. However, their efforts are fully rewarded, because the lake hosts an amazingly rich fauna consisting of crocodiles, hippopotami and water birds. Approximately 12,000 crocodiles live in and around Lake Turkana. Although they are among the largest in the world, reaching up to 5.5 meters in length, they do not pose a threat to humans and their animals, because they feed on the giant Nile perch that molt in the lake's waters. On a quiet night, the visitor on the shore can hear the clicking of the huge jaws of the crocodiles working in the echpa, feeding the fish to the shore and filling them on the go. Their main mating and breeding ground is the Central Island, a small cluster of volcanic craters near the west coast. Here crocodiles multiply and live almost unchanged for 130 million years. The animal grows in length with age, and its apparent docility is probably due to the lack of predators and the abundance of prey. Maybe because of the soda content of the water, the crocodiles here have some horny nodules on their bellies, so their skin cannot be used to make leather goods, a fact that saved them from the attention of people. Work in a team, at pelicans. Attracted equally by the fish population of the lake, numerous species of birds live in the area: egrets, shovelers, batlans, ibises, cormorants, ducks and geese, along with the great white pelican. Pelicans seem to have copied the fishing technique of crocodiles. Members of the flock line up on the side of the water, swim in the same rhythm, and suddenly, as if at a signal, they all throw their flippers into the water and pick up the fish thus gathered. Until the early 1970s, Lake Turkana was called Rudolf. The first European to reach its shores was Count Samuel Teleki von Scheck, in 1897, who named it so in honor of the Prince of Austria. Count Teleki was a rich Hungarian, geographer and adventurer. Accompanied by a well-equipped caravan of 450 porters and 6 guides, Teleki made his way through the region, shooting everything in his path, from quail to elephants, hippopotamuses and leopards. The lake was the final piece in a huge puzzle created by Edward Seuss, a geologist from Vienna. He noted the orderly structure formed by the lakes and rivers between Lake Nyassa, in northern Africa, and the Jordan River in the Middle East, identifying at the same time the existing fault in the Earth's crust and today called the Great Rift. Lake Turkana arouses a particular fascination, because here, after decades of work by anthropologists such as Mary and Louis Leakey, together with their son, Richard, some of the oldest fossilized traces of the first humans were discovered. These suggest that the region was inhabited 2 million years ago by human beings who moved in a vertical position. Footprints were discovered there in the volcanic lava volcanic. Also there were found numerous stone axes used by the first people for hunting. What were the causes of an abundance of fossils? Thousands of generations died in the area, and their bones were buried and fossilized in successive layers of sediments and lava. The subsequent tectonic movements brought them to light, thus creating a veritable laboratory for studying the first years of life of the human species, on the shores of a jade-colored lake.